Balance seems like one of those things which you shouldn't really even have to practice, particularly as a runner. It might be more understandable if, for instance, we were skiers or we were ice skaters and balance seems super important that way, but when we're running, how often do we actually have to think about our balance? Not often. Maybe on downhills, maybe on rocky courses or something like that, but often it's just something we take for granted, and we shouldn't. And there's a really, really simple test that you can do to prove the power of balance, if you like. But firstly, it's useful to understand a little bit about foot strike. The majority of runners fall into three camps. Forefoot strikers, so they land on their toes, heel strikers who land on their heel, and midfoot strikers who land healthily on the balls of their feet. Now, I say healthily, but you absolutely can be a healthy runner and land on your toe or your heel. It's more to do with where your foot is placed in relation to your centre of gravity, which dictates whether you're more at risk of injury or not. If you land on your toe, typically you will be more at risk of calf injuries. Your heel absolutely will touch down during your foot strike, and this is brilliant. Amongst other things, it relieves tension when it touches down from the Achilles, which is a super injury prone area. But if we land with our foot outstretched in front of us, hitting your heel first, what you'll find is that that puts a backwards force on your foot strike. You then have to overcome that force in order to push off again. Whereas if you land on your midfoot, you are primed, ready to spring into the next step. Should we all be midfoot strikers? No. Should we all try to land as close as possible to our centre of gravity if we want to minimise injury and maximise our running economy? Yes. And for the majority of people, is this easiest to do when you're landing on your midfoot? Absolutely. So the test to demonstrate this, what I'd like you to do is go up onto your toes and jump up and down 10 times. Then I'd like you to go onto your heels and jump up and down 10 times. Then I'd like you to go up into your midfoot, which means raising the heel of your foot a few inches above the ground only, not right up onto your toes, so that this main ball of your foot is the item in contact with the ground, and jump up and down 10 times. The majority of people will find that yes, they can hop quickly and transition onto the next jump super quickly if they're on their toes, but they can't actually put much power through the ground. They're not jumping particularly high. If you jump on your heel, it's just so much more difficult to then get onto your midfoot and jump again. The hopping will take a lot longer, and if you hop up and down on your midfoot, you just feel nice and relaxed. And here is where that balance aspect comes into it, because if you just stand on one leg, how balanced do you feel? You're probably waving about a little bit to maintain your balance, but then if you go up into your midfoot, suddenly you become a lot less stable. And that is your body saying, put your heel on the ground. Let's re-stabilize ourselves. We do not want to fall over. Falling over is bad for humans. So the more confidence that you can have in your midfoot balance, the more naturally you will land on your midfoot. It's not something you're going to think about, but if it's something just innately in you to land on your midfoot and have complete confidence in your ability to catch yourself in that position and push off into the next stride, then you're going to run stronger and you're going to feel psychologically stronger as well. You're going to run more confident with that movement pattern. So how are we going to practice balance? Balance is just an element of fitness. The more you practice, the better you will be at it. So just going onto your midfoot and bouncing for a while, maybe when you're boiling the kettle, when you're brushing your teeth, when you're ironing your clothes. Kat, you know that no one irons clothes apart from you anymore. All right, Sassy Mo, all right. And gradually your sense of balance will be stronger. But we can take this to another level. We can make this, for a want of a better term, more runnery. Firstly, we can put some midfoot plyometrics into our strength training. That's jumping movements where you're deliberately landing quickly on your midfoot and taking off again. We can also do some balance drills. One of the best drills is standing on your midfoot on one leg and catching a ball. You can either throw it against a wall or throw it between two runners if you've got someone to train with. And the third thing that you can do, I call a balance weight pass. And this imitates the centre of gravity being thrown when we are running, because yes, we'd like to always run in a nice stable position, but you're not going to. There's momentum when we're running, there is a rotation when we're running. Your centre of gravity is going to be throwing you. So let's start changing that centre of gravity deliberately with a weight and still balancing on our midfoot. And what you're going to do for this is you're simply going to balance on your midfoot and pass a weight from one hand to the other and try and see if you can maintain that sense of equilibrium. A couple of minutes a day just with these exercises can really help to strengthen that innate sense of balance. And then you can start to move on to more exciting drills.